on the link here. Yeah, so that was interesting to me with the positives and the vaccination because it's close to that pat to half. I mean, May 1st is in less than a couple weeks. Interesting. I want to bring on GHURA Director Ray Topasna, who, we bring him on every other week for an update with the Housing Authority. But first, I kind of want to start with this whole ethics complaint thing that it's the second one that you filed. Starting to think that you don't like Senator Taitague. I don't know. Call me crazy. So what was the kind
No,
of
it's not that at all,
Go ahead.
Chris.
Go ahead.
It's just that she intentionally violated their SOPs that they adopted for conducting virtual public hearings. And, it's almost like driving down Marine Drive. You get pulled over by a cop for going 90. And then the following day, the cop pulls you over for going 100. I mean, what do you want the cop to do?
I want a cop to
You
say
knew it was.
Go
You
ahead.
knew you had violated the law the first time, and then you intentionally did it the second time.
Ray, because I kind of talked about this to open up the show, right? And so these two ethics complaints that you have filed, they're stemming from comments that Senator Taitague had made during, I think one of them was a confirmation hearing, right? And this is where she had asked a board, or was it a deputy? Who was being confirmed?
It was a potential member to the GHURA board. And
Right.
she had made statements that were not factual, or Senator Taitague made statements publicly that were not factual.
Wait, but didn't she say that, hey, your director sued the board before? Are you worried at all about getting sued? That was that one, right?
No, that's not what she said. She said I was going to sue her. I haven't sued her, and I won't. I don't have any plans to sue her. So the statement in and of itself was not factual.
But it wouldn't be totally out of bounds for someone to bring it up because you did, in fact, sue your board previously, right? That's what
It's
I'm
an
saying.
ongoing lawsuit that's been in the book since 2015, I believe. And it was just recently unsealed by the courts. I don't have any control over the courts, but the lawsuit was filed back in 2015. And for the senator, and she knew this, for the senator to say publicly during a hearing that I have plans to sue her when in fact I've never had that discussion with her. And I've not sued her. So it just proves that she's making statements on record that are not truthful, that are not factual. So that's the reason for my first ethics complaint. The legislature acknowledged the complaint and I guess admonished her. I don't know what they did. But then here we go with a informational hearing.
Did they admonish her or did they, that's the one you sent me, right?
Yeah, but Chris, for the record, you only read the first paragraph. You didn't read the second paragraph. Please read the second paragraph.
Oh, you're going to for the record me. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying if you read the second paragraph, it basically says that they have to conform to their rules.
Okay, here we go.
Their SOPs.
I'm going to read it. This is a letter to Ray Topasna dated July 30, 2020. And it comes from the then chair of the Committee on Ethics, Senator Amanda Shelton. The committee acknowledges the standing rules and standard operating procedures for virtual public hearings that have been adopted must be adhered to and enforced. We reaffirm that all members and staff employees of Iles Latour and Guahan shall conduct the person's life, both public and private, so as to bring honor and respect to the person's office in adherence to rule, Code of Ethics standards for the legislative branch. The chairperson, with the consent of the committee, is releasing this letter to the complainant and to the respondent to your personal email address. So they just acknowledge the standing rules, but they don't really admonish her.
Well, they acknowledge the standing rules and reaffirm that they have to follow it. And then lo and behold, a second hearing was held, informational hearing. And once again, Senator Taitague made statements that had nothing to do with the hearing itself. And it was her opportunity to launch a personal attack against me, making statements, once again, that's not factual. So, you know, that's
Wait,
the
because
purpose of my
this is
second
a good
ethics
one.
complaint.
The second ethics complaint that you filed is because the public auditor, BJ Cruz, had come on this show and said that, what did he say, Jay?
Oh, let me remember.
What
Well,
did he say narcissist, or was that?
no, it was
Okay, I got it. He said that you can lie with a straight face. Right.
Correct.
So the public auditor publicly said that in publicly about you, a public employee in the public. And then so Senator Taitague brought it up in the hearing. And you took offense to that.
Yeah,
Because,
the exact quote, he goes,
hold on.
The title of the YouTube video, in fact, BJ Cruz on Ray Topasna's raises claim. He goes, quote, his lies are unbelievable and he does it with a straight face. That from the public auditor.
Thank you, Jay. How come you didn't file an ethics complaint against the public auditor? That's way worse than whatever Tello said.
Well, you know, unfortunately, the Ethics Commission is not even accepting ethics complaints at this moment, primarily because they don't have their SOPs in place and all of that stuff. So, yeah, maybe I should.
Wow. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. So Ray, but I mean, you're an executive director in, sitting administration. What would you say to those people who might say that, you didn't die and this comes with the territory?
Well, you know, Chris, we're expected to go to these hearings and speak factually and speak to the issues at hand and not come to these hearings to launch personal attacks. So, you know, it is what it is. If the Guam legislature feels that my complaint doesn't warrant any action, then so be it. But if I can just say, the oversight chair, Joe San Augustine, actually muted Tello from participating in the virtual public hearing,
right?
Which in and of itself says she said something either inappropriate or not truthful, or I mean, there was enough merit for her to be muted. I mean, I've not known that to happen before.
I just want to be fair. I want to be fair, Ray. Or it was like you and Senator San Augustine are both Governor Lulubel's boys, and he was just siding with you. But I don't know. I don't know. Was anyone muted, or because I can't recall.
She was muted.
Okay. And so you're taking that as like that means that you're validated.
No, I'm taking that as, you know, she said something she shouldn't have said. I don't come to those hearings to launch personal attacks. I come to those hearings to respond to the tough questions. She should ask tough questions.
That's got to be like the toughest question. Do you lie with a straight face? It doesn't really get any tougher than that. That's a tough one.
That's in and of itself, that's a lie, Chris. I haven't lied on the air. When you've interviewed me, I haven't lied to my GHURA board. I haven't caught myself lying for anything.
But actually asking you if you lie with a straight face is not a lie. That's a question. How you answer it, depending on the factual circumstances.
But it has nothing to do with the hearing. So right. When we go to these hearings, you need to talk about matters that are pertinent to the hearing and not just, you know, launching personal attacks. And so if the Guam legislature wants to recognize my complaint, great. If not, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Right. But what would you say that, because it's not totally out of line for a senator to bring up something that happens in the public, because, you know, when is she ever going to get, or any of them, when are they ever going to get a chance to ask Ray Topasna, GHURA director, about, because it's huge. The public auditor says you lie with a straight face. That's kind of a big deal. And they might not always have an opportunity.
Yeah, the public auditor also, the OPA also said we're going into receivership. And we haven't gone into receivership. We're not going into receivership. And I don't know where he got that, but he obviously isn't talking to the same federal partners that I am. He made a lot of statements that are not even close to being factual. And Tello repeated those statements at our hearing. I mean, it is what it is. If the legislature feels those comments are inappropriate, then I hope they act on it. But, you know, I think she's got more to worry about than my ethics complaint, such as the other ethics complaint. And for the record, I actually FOIA'd those documents from GVB and it was denied. Surprisingly, it was approved with a second FOIA by Candid News, I believe, or at least he was able to obtain that information. But if I was able to obtain that information, I would have filed the ethics complaint, including all of the information that was recently revealed.
So why don't you?
So, because I didn't have, my FOIA was denied by GVB and I have the records to prove that. But I was aware that in the previous administration of which I was a part of, I was aware that there was an accusation at GVB regarding a missing purse. I was working for the governor's office at the time. So
this purse thing it's really,
I mean, I didn't get it.
But Ray, we interviewed Tello about this and she provided the sign out sheet where when she left GVB, she turned over all the property that belonged to the Bureau and the purse was on the list and it was signed off by Rose Cunliffe. So, and God, I don't want to get into this purse thing because I feel like it's already been dealt with.
Well, you know, Chris, I can only talk about what was discussed at the board executive session, and for the record,
let's go back
with these executive sessions. With these executive sessions, there's a court stenographer that's typically present, so it's verbatim, it's recorded, and the minutes are pretty accurate. So you know that information got out. That was what was discussed at the board meeting. I don't know what happened after that, but that's not why we're here. I thought we were here to talk about some of GHURA's.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go
projects.
in on Tello, so I was just giving you the opportunity. But you know, I'm just going to lay down and let you.
Oh no,
go
I
in
mean,
on it.
if that's what you want to talk about.
No. But let me ask you this one more. So you put out the press release about the ethics complaint on the GHURA. I mean, it came out through the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. Did you think that was an ethical issue? That should you have done that on like
No,
a
I didn't
personal?
sign. I didn't file the media is turning things around. I didn't file it in my capacity as the GHURA executive director. I actually signed the document, not on GHURA letterhead, but just on a plain piece of paper.
Right, but wasn't sent out by GHURA?
Yeah, but it wasn't filed
Yeah,
in my capacity as the executive director of GHURA.
It was sent out by Data Control Clerk 2, Kathleen Taitague, GHURA's Administration Division. Which to me, it kind of raised my eyebrows because it's like, I mean, I don't know. You did kind of endure this treatment by Senator Tello while you were clocked in as the executive director of GHURA. So do you think it justifies it?
I don't get, Chris, I don't get paid 8 to 5.
I know.
It's not even 8 o'clock right now, and I'm being interviewed in my official capacity.
Right, yeah. So that's
So
cool.
there's a lot of flexibility. You know, I don't time in, time out. I'm an exempt employee. I work on weekends. If my staff were to send something out during working hours, but they work on weekends as well, you know.
I know. No, I totally get it, Ray. I'm just saying that to use the GHURA agency to put out this ethics complaint.
Well, it didn't cost GHURA a penny.
Okay. Anyway, so
If that's what you're,
I'm not
if
even
that's what
saying
you're concerned about.
I'm not concerned. I'm just saying that, you know, it's interesting to me that GHURA sent out this release when it's, you know, it's highly it is what it is, Ray. You know. But if you're cool with it.
Yeah, well, I signed it. I didn't sign it in my capacity as the GHURA executive director.
Which is why I was wondering, like, why did GHURA send it out? Because when I see the GHURA, I'm like, oh, it's a press release. I was like, oh, wait, what is this? That's something. What do you think your odds are, though, with this second one?
I don't really care.
So if you don't really care, why are you doing it?
Because I think every member of the Guam legislature should be held accountable, and I should be held accountable as well. I mean, every appointed official, every elected official.
Let's talk about that. How about that Sinahanya Arts Center, Ray?
Yeah, you know, Chris, if I can just say, I was called a political hack, but there's a lot going on at GHURA, so that's not typical of a political hack. The Sinahanya Community Arts Center, it's about 40% complete. The walls were poured just last week. The foundation was poured about 3-4 weeks ago. We're hoping to complete construction by October 2021 of this year. So if all goes well, construction has slowed significantly with a lot of activity here on Guam, but we collectively have as many as 50 construction projects going on with our public housing program. So there's still a lot going on. We also broke ground to the Lighthouse Recovery Center for Women in Tizen. The groundbreaking was end of last month, and the contractor now is mobilizing and hopefully putting up all the construction barrier fencing. The pneumatic baseball field, it's about 72% complete. Work is ongoing. The lighting installation is happening as we speak, and the renovation of the restrooms are ongoing as well. And then we have 2 basketball courts that we're building. One in Arahan, right next to the Public Health Southern Regional Center. That we just last week got the building permits signed. And my gosh, it took about a year to get that building permit approved. So I'm glad this administration is working to try and streamline the permitting process. So we're hoping to have a groundbreaking for the Inarahan basketball court within the next 3 weeks. And then the Mongmong Totumaiti basketball court, that as well, we're working on the request or the invitation for bid for construction, and that we hope to advertise by the end of April. And I mentioned this earlier or in a previous interview. We're working with the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. We just recently completed their concept document for the drug and alcohol rehab and treatment center in Tamuning. That's right next to their current facility. And that was provided to them. We as well are working with them to renovate the former Talafofu DYA cottage homes. That's a 21-acre property in Talafofu, and we want to as well convert that to a drug rehab facility. We're not going to be using GHURA's funds, but we're providing technical assistance. The iLearn Academy, $32 million construction project. GHURA's share is about $12 million. We're hoping to close the loan documents by the end of the month, and construction really needs to start by the beginning of May, or we're not going to be able to meet the August 2022 school year opening. So that's very critical. And then one thing I want to announce is the low-income housing tax credit award. We're actually going to be awarding as much as $66 million in tax credits to build affordable homes. So we're working on that, and we hope to have the qualified action plan, and that's similar to an RFP process. We hope to get that out very shortly, but the next round of tax credit awards is going to be, it's actually $6.6 million, but it's over 10 years, so it's actually worth $66 million. And then we issued a press release a couple of weeks ago on the official point-in-time count for the homeless population. We have good news to report. There's 790 total homeless. That's 682 unsheltered, 108 sheltered persons with this count, with the 2020 count. That's actually a 9.7% decrease from the previous year of 2019, which was 875.
When was that point in time count? From what?
That was January 2020, end of the month of January. So it was pre-pandemic. Right. And so we were excited that a year under our administration's belt, there was a 9.7% decrease in the homeless population. So, if I can just give you a quick breakdown, there was the homeless vet population decreased by 9%, chronic homeless individuals decreased by 44%, and chronically homeless families decreased by a whopping 74%. So that's, I really want to thank the Guam Homeless Coalition for all the work they do to combat homelessness, together with our public partners, public health, behavioral health, We collectively have done an outstanding job because I don't see the numbers decreasing anywhere in the nation. But we've seen some decreases here on Guam, and hopefully even with the pandemic and the moratorium on evictions, that we won't see the numbers increase anytime soon.
Man, that was good news, Ray, but it was from January of last year. So what do you think the next homeless count that includes the pandemic is going to say?
You know, I really can't say because keep in mind, Chris, there's a moratorium on eviction. So even if you were a landlord and your tenant isn't paying, there's a moratorium. So the chances of you being evicted during the pandemic are not very high as well. You know, we have mortgage relief programs that are out there. We have rent relief programs that are out there. And I believe the Department of Administration was just issuing checks this week to applicants who did pre-qualify for rent relief. And then we just recently got in my discussions with HUD, we got their approval on the mortgage relief to use the IRS 1040 definition of income. So that means many of those that were deemed ineligible in the first place may be eligible after all. So from my understanding in my discussions with the Guam Housing Corporation, they've identified as many as 12 more that will qualify for mortgage relief on top of the 3 that's already been approved. So, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of our mortgage holders.
When are we going to do the
Go
next?
ahead.
When are we going to do the next point in time count? Do you know?
Well, the HUD actually gave us a waiver for 2021, January, and there's no discussion right now or no plan to have one possibly until January of next year. But I can't say if it was entirely up to me, because I don't do the point in time count. It's actually done by the Guam Homeless Coalition.
Yeah.
But if it was entirely up to me, I'd want to do one today.
Right. Yeah. Me too. Because I feel like it's I don't want to say disingenuous, but it's kind of just awkward to be holding up these stats from January 2020 and patting ourselves on the back that homelessness went down when we all know full well that this pandemic had dealt a hot hand to a lot of people. And that was part of the whole conversation, was finding shelter for these homeless people because it was such a big problem, right? So I'd be curious to see those numbers. Ray, we're really up against time, but I wanted to ask just before you go, Sinania Fire Station?
Sinania Fire Station, we issued an RFP for the architectural engineering design, and we've accepted a number of applications. So it's currently under review and evaluation. So in the coming weeks, I should be able to take it to the board and award a contract. So yeah, that's moving very expeditiously. We're very excited about that project.
Nice, Ray. Well, keep us posted. Let us know if you do file anything against the public auditor, because that'd definitely be newsworthy. But thanks for the heads up.
You know, Chris, I am really so busy, but when I find time to try and hold people accountable, I do so.
There's always time for that. Take it easy, Ray.
You too.
Okay. Ray Topasna, Executive Director of GHURA. Hey, it's 7:35, Tuesday, April 20th. We're going to take a quick break. And ladies, I have a special treat for you, because coming up next, Jason Solis. That's it. Coming up next.
No, you're talking about the other guy, right?
No,
Actually,
that's it. Coming up next, Jason Solis.
If you work in food services, we have a special treat for you because the information we're going to pass along to you is very, very
right.
worthwhile.
Yeah, we got Ken Luana.